Did you know a Roman emperor ruled for just 2 weeks before vanishing without a trace? Or that in World War II, soldiers fought with weapons stranger than anything out of a sci-fi movie? Exploding head. Stick with me, because I'm about to reveal 50 shocking history facts your teachers never told you. 1. Napoleon wasn't actually short. Napoleon Bonaparte is widely believed to have been unusually short, but in reality, he stood around 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 7 inches, perfectly average for his era. The myth came from British propaganda and confusion between French and English units of measurement. Ironically, he surrounded himself with very tall soldiers, which made him appear shorter by comparison. 2. The Great Fire of London killed only 6 people. The massive fire of 1666 destroyed over 13,000 houses and much of central London. Yet only 6 official deaths were recorded. It burned for 4 days and reshaped the city forever. Experts believe the real death toll was likely much higher, but records of poor and working-class victims were often undocumented. 3. Cleopatra lived closer to the iPhone than the pyramids. Cleopatra 7 ruled Egypt in 30 BC, while the Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2560 BC. This means she lived over 2,000 years after the pyramids, but only about 2,000 years before modern inventions like the iPhone. It's a mind-bending reminder of how ancient Egyptian civilization truly is. For the Eiffel Tower can grow taller in summer. Because of thermal expansion, the Eiffel Tower can grow by up to 15 centimeters, 6 inches, during hot summer days. Steel expands as temperatures rise, subtly changing the tower's height. Tourists rarely notice the change, but engineers account for it during maintenance and construction. 5. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. Oxford began teaching students around the year 1096, making it one of the world's oldest universities. The Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, by contrast, wasn't founded until 1325, over 2 centuries later. That flips many assumptions about the Old World versus the New World. 6. George Washington didn't have wooden teeth. Despite the long-standing myth, Washington never had wooden dentures. His false teeth were made from materials like human teeth, ivory, and even lead. The wood rumor likely came from staining on these materials, which gave them a grainy, wooden appearance. 7. The shortest war in history lasted just 38 minutes. The Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 is the shortest war ever recorded, lasting between 38 and 45 minutes. It started when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to step down and ended almost immediately under British bombardment. The Sultan's palace was destroyed and the new ruler was installed by afternoon. 8. Vikings didn't wear horn helmets. There's no historical evidence that Viking warriors wore horned helmets in battle. That image came from 19th century operas and romanticized illustrations. Real Viking helmets were made of iron or leather, simple, functional, and without decorative horns. 9. A pope once put a dead pope on trial. In 897 AD, Pope Stephen VI exhumed the body of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, and held a bizarre public trial known as the Cadaver Synod. The corpse, dressed in papal robes, was found guilty and thrown into the Tiber River. It remains one of the most grotesque episodes in papal history. 10. Ancient Romans used urine as mouthwash. Urine, rich in ammonia, was prized in ancient Rome for its cleaning properties. Citizens would rinse their mouths with it to whiten teeth and kill bacteria. Though it sounds disgusting today, it was considered an effective and completely normal hygiene practice at the time. 11. The Leaning Tower of Pisa took nearly 200 years to complete. Construction began in 1173 and wasn't finished until 1372. The long timeline was partly due to interruptions caused by wars and funding issues. Ironically, these delays allowed the soil beneath the tower to settle, which may have prevented it from toppling completely. 12. Julius Caesar was once kidnapped by pirates. In 75 BC, young Caesar was kidnapped by Cilician pirates. He insisted they raise his ransom because he believed he was worth more. After being released, he raised a fleet, hunted them down, and had them all crucified, as he had promised them during captivity. 13. Beethoven continued composing after going completely deaf. Despite total hearing loss in his later years, Beethoven composed some of his most celebrated works, including the Ninth Symphony. He heard music through vibrations, memory, and intense internal visualization. 14. Ancient Egyptians used moldy bread to treat infections. Long before penicillin, Egyptians applied moldy bread to wounds to prevent infection. The mold contained natural antibacterial properties, a primitive but effective early form of antibiotic treatment. 15. The guillotine was still in use in the 1970s. France continued using the guillotine as its official method of execution until 1977. The last person executed by guillotine was Hamida Jandoubi in Marseille, 4 years after the release of The Godfather. 16. President Abraham Lincoln is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Lincoln had a reputation as an exceptional wrestler in his youth. Out of 300 matches, he lost only one, earning him a spot in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. 17. The shortest reigning monarch ruled for just 20 minutes. Luís II of Portugal abdicated the throne just 20 minutes after being proclaimed king in 1908. His reign is one of the shortest in recorded history. 18. Genghis Khan had no known physical likeness. No verified portraits or descriptions of Genghis Khan from his lifetime exist. His image, often seen in textbooks, is based on artistic interpretations created centuries later. 19. A war was once fought over a stray pig. The Pig War of 1859 between the U.S. and Britain began after an American farmer shot a British pig on disputed San Juan Island territory. Though tensions rose, the war ended without a single human casualty. 20. The Eiffel Tower was almost temporarily dismantled. Originally intended as a temporary exhibit for the 1889 World's Fair, the Eiffel Tower was nearly torn down in 1909. It was saved because it proved useful as a military radio tower. 21. Samurai warriors practiced decapitation as a test of their swords. The technique, called tamashijiri, involved testing blades on condemned criminals or corpses. Swordsmiths would mark swords with how many bodies they could cut through with a single strike. 22. The Colosseum once had a retractable roof. Roman engineers used a massive awning system called the velarium, operated by sailors, to shade up to 50,000 spectators from the sun during gladiator games. 23. Paul Revere didn't ride alone. While Paul Revere is famous for warning the British are coming, two others, William Dawes and Samuel Prescott, also rode to alert colonial militias. Prescott was the only one to complete the full ride to Concord. 24. The ancient Greeks invented vending machines. In the 1st century AD, Hero of Alexandria created a device that dispensed holy water when a coin was inserted, making it the world's first vending machine. 25. The original Olympic athletes competed nude. In ancient Greece, athletes participated without clothing to honor the gods and celebrate the human body. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek gymnos, meaning naked. 26. The Titanic had its own newspaper. The The Atlantic Daily Bulletin was printed on board the RMS Titanic each day. It included news, stock prices, horse racing results, and society gossip, all updated via wireless telegraph. 27. Rasputin survived multiple assassination attempts. The Russian mystic Grigory Rasputin was poisoned, shot, beaten, and finally drowned before he died in 1916. Legend says he withstood the poison and bullets before finally succumbing. 28. The first computer programmer was a woman. Ada Lovelace, working with Charles Babbage's early mechanical computer in the 1800s, is considered the first person to write an algorithm intended for machine processing. 29. Victorian people took photos with their dead relatives. Post-mortem photography was common in the 19th century. Families would dress up and pose deceased loved ones to capture one final portrait, often eerily lifelike. 30. The Great Wall of China isn't visible from space. Contrary to popular belief, astronauts cannot see the Great Wall with the naked eye from space. It's too narrow and follows the natural landscape too closely. 31. The U.S. once planned to drop an atomic bomb on the moon. During the Cold War, a secret Air Force project, A-119, explored detonating a nuclear bomb on the moon to demonstrate American power. The plan was abandoned. 32. Ancient Persians debated ideas twice, sober and drunk. To ensure balanced judgment, Persian nobles would discuss important matters while sober and revisit them while drunk, and vice versa. Believing truth emerged under both conditions. 33. A London bridge was sold and rebuilt in the U.S. In 1968, the old London Bridge was dismantled and sold to an American businessman who rebuilt it in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where it still stands today. 34. The CIA tried to spy on the Soviets using cats. Operation Acoustic Kitty was a Cold War project that implanted listening devices inside cats. The plan failed when the first test cat was hit by a taxi. 35. The oldest known customer complaint is 3,800 years old. A Babylonian clay tablet records a customer complaining about the quality of copper ingots. It's essentially the world's first recorded bad review. 36. Napoleon was once attacked by a horde of bunnies. During a hunting event, Napoleon's men released hundreds of rabbits, but instead of fleeing, they swarmed him. The rabbits had been domesticated and ran toward him, expecting food. 37. The first alarm clock could only ring at one time. Invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787, the first mechanical alarm clock rang only at 4 a.m. because that's when its inventor needed to wake up for work. 38. Ketchup was once sold as medicine. In the 1830s, ketchup was marketed as a cure for indigestion. Dr. John Cook Bennett even created ketchup pills for medical use. 39. The ancient Romans invented concrete that still lasts. Roman concrete, made with volcanic ash, lime, and seawater, has survived for over 2,000 years and is more durable in marine environments than many modern concretes. 40. The Pope used to lead armies into battle. During the Middle Ages and Renaissance, several popes, including Julius II, personally led troops in a war, combining spiritual authority with military command. 41. The U.S. had a sitting president arrested. In 1872, Ulysses S. Grant was arrested for speeding in his horse-drawn carriage. He paid a fine and was released, the only sitting president ever arrested. 42. Ancient Chinese emperors used ice houses to keep cool. As early as 1100 BC, Chinese rulers stored ice in underground pits during the winter to preserve it for summer, an early form of refrigeration. 43. Hitler was once Time magazine's Man of the Year. In 1938, Hitler was named Time's Man of the Year, not as an honor, but to highlight his global influence, which soon proved catastrophic. 44. Pope Benedict IX sold the papacy. In 1045, Pope Benedict IX resigned and sold the papal office to his godfather. He later attempted to reclaim the title, creating chaos in the church. 45. A woman once gave birth in the middle of a parachute jump. In 1939, a woman in the Soviet Union went into labor during a training jump. She landed safely and gave birth moments later. Both survived. 46. Ancient Spartans killed infants they deemed weak. Spartan society prioritized strength and military prowess. Newborns were inspected, and those considered sickly or frail were abandoned or killed. 47. The Library of Alexandria may have been destroyed multiple times. While often attributed to one fire, historians believe the famous library suffered several attacks and gradual destruction over centuries. 48. The first recorded brain surgery was over 7,000 years ago. Skulls found in France show evidence of trepanation, drilling holes into the skull, and signs of healing, indicating that patients often survived. 49. Benjamin Franklin once proposed using rattlesnakes as weapons. Angry at Britain for sending convicts to America, Franklin joked that Americans should repay the favor by shipping barrels of rattlesnakes to England. 50. A pigeon was awarded a military medal in World War II. Cher Ami, a carrier pigeon, saved nearly 200 U.S. soldiers in World War I by delivering a crucial message despite being injured. He was awarded the French Croix de Guerre.